Do the intro.
What I say?
Okay.
This video is about things I did during
Stop
my
tapping
wife's.
the tapping. Dang. Ow. It's not funny.
Alright. So this video is about things I did during my wife's postpartum depression.
Who said I was depressed?
Oh. What are you supposed to call it?
It's not postpartum depression.
What is it?
Postpartum period.
Okay, let me start over.
Every woman has a postpartum period. They may not be depressed.
You know what I meant though. They know what I mean.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Everybody don't know that.
All right, start over.
They'll be like, "Oh, Sherrie got postpartum depression." Like,
Start
I'm
over.
a little sad because of, everything that happened.
All right,
But
postpartum period. All right, this video is about things I did during my wife's postpartum period after giving birth to Lily Jean Joy.
so for those of you who don't know what the postpartum period is, the postpartum period is the time after a woman gives birth to a baby. I still feel like I'm in the postpartum period. Even though Lily Jean is in almost 4 months, I still definitely feel like I'm in the postpartum period. So 5 things my husband did in my postpartum period that helped me keep my sanity. So I thought that this would be a good topic to talk about on the channel for those people who follow me because of the whole pregnancy, and maybe you had a baby, or maybe there's like other dads who are thinking what can they do in a postpartum period for their wives, or maybe there's like moms who aren't bold enough to ask their significant other, their husbands, to do things for them in the postpartum period. So this is why I wanted to do this video. So the 5 things that my husband did for me that I felt were very helpful in the postpartum period were: number 1 is
Make sure we pray together, just to set the atmosphere in the house, and it just makes everything a lot better.
right. And even before we got to the house, like praying, like we were in the hospital, like during the labor and delivery process, he was praying. And, while I was resting with the baby, praying. And when we pulled up in the driveway, before we even, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Before we even got out of the car and took the baby in the house, we prayed, before we even got the baby out of the car on the first day to bring her in. So that just kind of like set the tone for us to be at peace and just really rely heavily on God, just to make sure that this is the experience that he would have had us to have without there being any additional anxiety or stress at that time.
All right, so the second thing that's really important is making sure she had water to drink at all times, cold water. So that was making sure we went to, go to the store, make sure the fridge was stocked with water bottles. And if she didn't finish her water bottle, put the water bottle in the freezer, and then, it'd be nice and icy, and then you can add water to that. And then, especially at night, she probably get real thirsty a lot sometimes at night, and during the middle of the night I would get up, wake myself up.
Yeah, he would.
Go down and get the water out of the freezer.
You actually still do that. I'll be like, oh, I'm thirsty.
This time take me a little bit longer though.
That before he would, like, literally, even in the hospital when the nurse would come in, he would be like, can we get more water? Just knowing that, we naturally drink water, and that me nursing the baby, knowing that that's something that I need. So just making sure I always had water and I didn't have to ask for it. And made sure that I ate, that I was eating, and just making sure that I was nourished. Because when you have a baby, it's like immediately you're thinking about the needs of the baby. And sometimes you tend to neglect what you need. So just making sure that I eat and that I have something to drink, because when you're nursing a baby, you're like really thirsty. Yep, this is number 3.
So number 3 would be to make sure everything in the house is taken care of, so that she can be at ease and be at peace about everything and doesn't have to do her regular routine, like clean the bathroom or clean the kitchen.
Well, first I want to say this. We don't really have like gender roles. And I think that's one thing that we established before we got married in our premarital class, that there were certain things that I naturally would do because I felt like I was better at them. Not better at them, but maybe like more experienced, or that I liked doing, or that there would be things.
She does not like me folding clothes.
Oh, yeah, he can't fold the clothes.
I know how to fold clothes very neatly.
You know how to fold clothes, but you don't fold them how I want them to fold clothes. So I wanted to say we don't have gender roles in our marriage. But one thing, like Alan said, is he was making sure that I didn't have to do my normal routines, which I really appreciated it. Because I thought I was going to come home and just be able to, like, hop back into it, like, roll back into it. And he would literally give me permission, and I would just feel so relieved that he would be like, no, just lay on the couch or go take a nap. Someone who's used to doing stuff all the time, I need somebody to give me permission to take a break. Even though that sounds silly, but I really like that he gives me permission to take a break. And he still does that. Like, no, go to bed. Like, go take a nap. Like, I need to be told to do those things and not feel guilty for doing it. And even Ailani, like my almost 12-year-old, I'd be like, I'm so tired. And she'll say, it's okay, mommy. Go to bed, And as a mother, you need that, what's it called? You need like that reassurance that it's okay, that your family's still going to keep rolling. Everything's going to be okay if you take a break and go take care of yourself or rest and not feel obligated to like continue with your normal routines in the postpartum period.
We got your back.
Right, and I appreciate that. But he will say stuff like, ridiculous stuff, like, I'll be like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, well, you know what you should do? Take 2 days off work. Take 2 days off work. Just don't even go. Just don't even go. Just take the days. Just take the days and stay in bed all day. And I'll be looking at him like.
It sounds like you wanted to take the rest of the year off. That's every teacher. Like,
yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, like, he will make sure that, and not just in the postpartum period, but in the postpartum period, he was extra. But you will always make sure that if I'm not feeling at peace, that I find ways to do it and I'm not overwhelmed. I appreciate that. Things, just to recap, what my husband did that were good for me in my postpartum period was definitely praying, making sure that I have food and water and not having to get it for myself. And the third thing was also just giving me permission to just rest and not really hop back into my normal routine of things.
The fourth thing was being present, meaning always being mindful of her needs and being able to be free to do that, even mentally free as well.
Right.
And always having ears and eyes open, being ready to help her out. So then when you look back, you see how much, that meant to her in those moments.
Right, and I get like kind of emotional just thinking about it because, like I consider like Lily Jean's birth story like a continuation of our love story, and it just is like I'm getting emotional thinking about it. I never really had anybody to like drop everything at any given point in their life. I don't need a tissue on me.
Yeah.
I feel like I never really had anybody to just be willing to just drop everything just to tend to my needs. And you don't, you not only did that for me in the postpartum period, but you do that for me every day. And more so now that we have 2 children. And I just really appreciate it, because nobody ever thinks to just drop everything and figure out what Sherrie needs. So I think you being so present in the postpartum period, just dropping everything you wanted to do or things that you're used to doing, just to make sure you're in tune with what I was feeling and going through with everything that changed, was really helpful. So thank you.
So the 5th thing I did, or I guess the 5th thing to do, there's probably more things.
There's a lot more things, but I guess we're just going with the most ones that stick out in our mind. So what was it?
Keep visitors. I guess just being mindful of not having too many visitors, and maybe more so immediate family than anything.
Yeah. And not to say that we didn't want people to come over to see us or check up on us, but at this part in the postpartum period, I think us talking about it before I had the baby, and him being in agreement and not saying like, no, this person and this person and that person, or just being nonchalant about it, but him being in agreement about visitors and when we were going to have certain people come over made it easier for me to feel comfortable just shutting down and being okay with not being an open book for a change, like being able to just be and experience and feel, in our little bubble.
You can't get that time back,
Right.
So that's why that time is very important to me, in a lot of aspects of life, but definitely with the birth of my first child, that's that time just alone, and just watching her grow without somebody knocking on the door, every few hours or every few days, just makes it, more peaceful that way.
Even after I gave birth immediately, and in our hospital they called it a golden hour, and the golden hour is the 1 hour period after you have the baby, and I only wanted for us to be in the room, and I like that you respected that, and his parents waited, patiently while we had that time together. But I like that you didn't try to change the plan after we had already talked about it, because that hour just after I had Lily Jean and just us being together and just taking it all in together, it was, I'm gonna cry again. It was very beautiful, and
you can't get that time
back. You can't get that time back by just having, not to say people are random, but that time between you, your partner, baby, and what you've been waiting for all of that time, just to have that moment, just the 3 of us to just take that in, is a time period that I will never forget. And just having that time and us being on the same page about not allowing so many different people come through, it even helps me to understand the value of what I'm sharing, because I know I'm meant to share things, but us going through that part of our life in the postpartum period and being okay, this is the plan, it makes me appreciate moments and wants to keep more things private, because it's just that much more special when it's just us, so to speak. Not to say we want to shut anybody out or keep up any walls, but just to have time to just enjoy the changes without the influences of everybody else.
Well, you don't have to videotape everything either, You really don't.
I do. I like to take pictures. I gotta have pictures, but I don't have the video.
Yeah.
You don't gotta be on Snapchat and Instagram in the middle of all the important things in your life, you know?
I wasn't I didn't have my phone
Yeah.
out. I was actually helping.
Yeah. I like, again, that you were present. You did not make me feel like I needed to immediately get back into my routine. And still, that's why I said I was like figuring out like how long is the postpartum period. Like I feel like I'm still in it, especially with like everything that happened. Like I feel like I'm still in, like I'm not ready like to be, you know, back into like everything that I do. I'm not ready yet. I'm still postpartuming.
I'm getting there.
But I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
I'm still postpartuming. You know, ing, like action. Like I don't know how long that period lasts. So maybe if you're like a doula or you know, comment down below and let us know how long is a woman's postpartum period. Is it only 6 weeks? Is it 3 months? Is it the first year? Comment and let us know. Anything else you want to say?
I don't have anything. Glad to help you. I love you.
Love you too. If you are in your postpartum period and you find yourself struggling with depression, know that you are not alone. Tell your doctor or someone you trust. Reach out for help and know that there's no reason for you to feel ashamed. You could even dial the anonymous hotline or text someone for emotional support or resources.